Would you take a minute just for a second? And no matter what seems like is going on in your life right now, I'd like you to think this thought right here. So take a breath now and relax. Let's have a good time and learn at the same time. Is that okay? Yeah. Is that okay? Yeah. Pretend I'm the Super Bowl, all right? Yeah, the enthusiasm goes up immediately. Okay. The thought I want you to hear, I just want you to listen to this for a minute and use it as an opportunity to get centered. There is another way of looking at the world. There is another way of looking at the world. There is another way of looking at the world. There is another way of looking at the world. There is another way of looking at the world. There is another way of looking at the world. There is another way of looking at the world. There is another way of looking at the world. There is another way of looking at the world. There is another way of looking at the world. Now I want to ask you to think of some situation that's causing you some kind of distress.
I don't know if I see anything there.
I want you to think about just one situation that's giving you a whole lot of grief. Something that you use to keep yourself from feeling the peace of God. Something that you are using to keep yourself from feeling the peace that you deserve. I want you to think of that thing you were thinking about on the way over here. And tell yourself, there is another way of looking at this. There is another way of looking at this. There is another way of looking at this. Think about it. You know what it is. So I'm going to take just a couple of minutes to do that too. So I'm going to think about mine right now. And I'm going to tell myself, there's another way of looking at this situation. 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 There's another way of looking at this. 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 You know what I'm talking about? Think about it right now. That situation that you are using to keep yourself in some kind of grief. There's another way of looking at this. There's another way of looking at this. There's another way of looking at this situation. There's another way of looking at your financial situation. There's another way of looking at your relationships. There's another way of looking at your job. There's another way of looking at your relatives. There's another way of looking at your friends. There's another way of looking at yourself. There's another way of looking at love. Tell yourself, whatever the situation is, some situation is causing you some pain. Some situation is keeping you from feeling the kind of peace you want to feel. And tell yourself, there's another way of looking at this. 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 There's another way of looking at it. Sometimes I forget there's another way to look at it. How can you tell when you're looking at it incorrectly?
You're in fear.
You're in fear. How you know you're not looking at it correctly?
You're in fear.
How do you know when you're not looking at it correctly?
You're in fear.
How do you know when you're not looking at it correctly?
You're in fear.
How can you tell when you're not perceiving correctly no matter what you're telling yourself? You're afraid. You're upset. So when you're most upset, is it likely that that's when you're the most accurate?
No.
Or inaccurate? So the next time you're angry and you're about to attack because you're sure you're right, let your anger tell you that you're looking at it incorrectly. And try to breathe, catch yourself before you say something that you wish you hadn't, or done something that you wish you hadn't. You never seeing it correctly when you're in fear. So we're going to talk about, we're going to continue going through the part that's about letting go of the past so you can party like a big dog now.
Okay.
It's a very spiritual title. And we're in the part of the course that's called the transition. That's what I'm going through right now. And I'm going to start on page 550. I'm going to be on paragraph 5. And I'm going to start off with that paragraph in the Course in Miracles that says, the tiny instant that you would keep and make eternal passed away in heaven too soon for anything to notice. The little tiny instant that you would keep had come. What disappeared too quickly to affect the simple knowledge of the child of God can hardly still be there for you to choose to be your teacher. Only in the past, an ancient past, too short to make a world in answer to creation, did this world appear to rise so long ago for such a tiny interval of time that not one note in love's or heaven's song was missed. Yet in each unforgiving act or thought, in every judgment, in all belief in sin, is that one tiny instant of upset still called back, as if that tiny instant of upset could still be made again in time. You keep an ancient memory before your eyes. You're always looking at an old memory. And the person who lives in memories alone is a person who's unaware of where they are. A person who only is living in their memories is a person that's not aware of what's happening now. So the plain language version of that is, so I do the plain language version. Isn't that great? I confuse you, and then I said the clear way to see it that's even more confusing. Because now you won't have no excuse for not understanding what I'm saying. Okay. What is past and gone and healed is not still here to be your teacher in truth. Your ego, your past learning is no longer here to be your teacher. Better get that. Your past learning is no longer here to be your teacher. And only in an ancient past did this world of separation really arise. And the separation has not affected the oneness of creation or the oneness of truth at all. Our so-called separation has not really changed the fact that we're all one. Okay, you with me there? So the truth is that you are love and that you're united with your creator, who is love. You are love and you're united with love. You are love and love created you. You're made out of love. That's your ingredients. Like if they broke you down and put you on a label, they just be saying love, love, and more love. Mixed with love. That's what you are. That's what you are. Now what I'm doing is telling you the truth, whether you believe it or not. Your believing me is not the issue. It's not about whether you believe that you're love. It's just that I'm here to remind you that you're love. I am the official reminder. I'm just here to remind you once a week that you are much greater than you might think you are. Based on what you've been telling yourself through the relationships you created during the week. And also, if you've been hearing all week that you are love, then you need to keep going in the direction of those people and circumstances that remind you, rather than because they were loving, you make sure you're never around them anymore. Okay. Then the Course in Miracles went on to tell us that the truth is that all your problems have been solved, but you don't realize it yet. And of course, in Miracles tells you that what you must do to realize that all your problems have been solved. Like, how do I come to know that I really don't have financial problems, health problems, God problems, depression problems? How do I come to know what you just told me about all my problems being solved, but I just don't know it? Well, the Course in Miracles is one spiritual path that can lead you to that realization among many spiritual paths. But anybody that's really sincere about their happiness is a person who is willing to do what it takes to get what they want. So if I'm not willing to do what it takes to get what I want, I don't really want it. So you don't really want something 100% until you want it above all else. And above all else, I want to be conscious. Above all else, I want to be loving. Above all else, I want to be free. Above all else, I want to know my relationship to God. Above all else, I want to wake up to who I really am. That's more important than special relationships, ambitions in the world, material things in the world, and anything this world has to offer. None of it is as important to me as getting all guilt, fear, anger, and grievances out of my mind, because the guilt, fear, anger, and grievances that I have in my mind, that's what's creating the pain and the problems that I think I'm going through in the world. That's what's causing yours too. So it's more important to have a clear mind than anything. A mind that's free of guilt, free of fear, free of anger, free of a sense of separation. So if you will free your mind, your butt will follow. Because your body is going to always be hanging around your mind. So your body is going to be wherever your mind is. Actually, your body is inside of your mind. But it looks like your mind is inside of your body. It looks like you inside of your body looking out. But the truth is you're inside of your mind looking at your body, with your ego inside your body looking out. So it's the ego that looks through the physical eyes of the body. In case you're wondering where your ego is whatever that is that thinks it's looking out your eyes right now. Everybody know what the ego is now? Doggone it, that sounds like that's me. When I first started reading the Course in Miracles and it was talking about all the stuff that the ego is jealous, or the ego is angry, or the ego is separate, or the ego attacks, and the ego is insecure, I was saying, I sound just like the ego. And then when we talk about my real self being unlimited, full of love, free, innocent, guiltless, eternal, that didn't sound like me. So the stuff the Course is telling me that is me doesn't sound like me. And then the stuff that is saying is me sounds just like me. The one that gets angry, the one that thinks it's separate, the one that thinks it's a body, so that's the ego. So that would lead me to the conclusion that I must be being something other than who I am. In other words, I am experiencing a life that you experience when you are not willing to be yourself. If I'm totally loving and lovable, and therefore I should be having an ecstatically happy, fulfilling life, and I'm not having it, then I must be having the experiment of seeing what it's like and what I would experience if I was never myself. So we're having a grand experience in seeing what would happen if we forgot how cool we are. And you see, and we're having the experience of what happens when you forget you're connected with God. Well, one of the things that happen is you think you're alone, and you go through fear, and it looks like you're a victim. It looks like things that happen to you that you have no control over. It looks like you're all alone. It looks like you're trying to figure things out. That's what I've noticed that happens when you forget that you're one with God and that you're spirit. That's what I've been having. What kind of experience have you all been having? Oh yeah, broken in two by periods in which I go to a club and dance. Don't forget that. Is anyone in here having a similar experience?
Yeah.
Where you think you're separate and you sometimes think you're happy and you sometimes think you're not? Okay, well then you're also taking the same class I am. What happens when you've forgotten who you really are and you're pretending that you're not an unlimited God being? Isn't it fun? Most New Thought people that I know of, if you mention that you go to Chainsaw Massacre 3, they get appalled while they're not judging. And us New Thought people, we don't judge. Okay, except anything other than what I believe and what I value, what I believe is true. But other than that, I don't judge. And people say, how can you go to something like that? I said, well, first of all, there is a few people that I'd like to Chainsaw Massacre. So rather than do the actual act of Chainsaw Massacring, I'll let them do it on a movie, and then know that as soon as they got through doing the scene, they all went out to lunch and laughed. That nobody died. It was all made up. It never really happened in the first place. So I think the person who's reacting to it as if it's real is the person who's unconscious, not the person who's looking at it and saying it doesn't mean anything. That's, because if it doesn't mean anything, then I wouldn't get upset about it. And that doesn't mean I'd go to Chainsaw Massacre movies, but it certainly means I wouldn't get upset about one. So even if I never darkened the door, I would be condemning the people that do, because they can't really affect anything that's real. And if somebody knows it's not real, nothing's going to happen. So I decided to take the other direction, which is to stop judging anything in the world as much as I possibly can, and choosing for my peace in every situation and letting people go to the movies if they want to, without my head of judgment on top of it. So what I did to make Texas Chainsaw Massacre even more of a spiritual lesson was I got a 3D TV. Now the chainsaw comes out into my lap while I'm eating dinner. See, what we've forgotten is that this is a grand amusement park. This is an amusement park. And just like any amusement park, there are different types of rides. Some rides are real gentle rides that everybody feel really good. They got some parts of the amusement park that's the scary house. They got some parts of the amusement park that those incredible roller coaster rides. And you decide which thing in the amusement park you'd like to go to. You don't go to everything in the amusement park, right? So think of your relationship as a ride in the amusement park. Think of your financial situation as a ride in the amusement park. Think of your job as a ride that you decide to get on in the amusement park. Think about your health as if it's a ride you decided to go. And then you could say, well, if I don't like this ride, I don't have to do this ride no more.
That's right.
But not only do we do the ride, we try to get somebody to do the ride with us. And we call that our lover, friend, partner. I'm scared the hell out of myself and doing stupid things, but I really don't want to do it by myself. Will you join me? I'll even pay for your admission to go. Remember, when you form a relationship with anyone, what you are doing is agreeing to experience the results of that person's thinking with them. So that means however they think, you're going to also be in on having to experience it. Like, like hooking up with somebody with a low credit score. You're going to feel the result of that if you're in a relationship with them and y'all trying to buy a house. You're going to have to go through that credit score with them. So be aware that every time you say you want to hook up with somebody, then you're going to experience the results of how that person sees things with them, how they feel about things with them, what they create. And so you're really going on a much bigger ride than you imagine. Okay? All right. So this paragraph is trying to get us to see that every time you have an unforgiving act or unforgiving thought, and every judgment and every belief that you think sin and guilt is real, every time you think that, he says, you're going to call back an instant of fear and separation, and it's going to look like what you're upset about is still happening right now. My heart got broken because you left me. Every time I think about that, I feel the heart break again. So every time I focus on something I haven't forgiven or released, I have to relive that feeling and emotion in the now moment. Even though the now moment took that situation away because it's not even happening anymore. So time really took away the thing that you're feeling sad about, but you're reliving it over and over again by remembering it. And the only reason why you remember it is because you're holding a grievance and you haven't let it go yet. So that means you're just living in your memories, an ancient memory, and not really seeing where you are now. That's what that paragraph was saying. Wow. So every time you look back on something that's upsetting you, even if it was just an upset that happened yesterday, even if it was just an upset that happened this morning, the Course in Miracles says what you're doing is keeping old memories and beliefs before your eyes, old learnings before your eyes, old grievances before your eyes, and in keeping you, and that's keeping you from experiencing the happiness, the love, and the abundance, and the peace right now. One of the biggest breakthroughs that I'm personally going through right now in my spiritual development is I'm really appreciating what I have available to me now.
Yes. Yes.
That is a radical state of mind. I'll say it again. I am appreciating the people and the situations and the circumstances that are available to me right now, rather than always having something in front of me wishing I was somewhere else. Yep. The grass is always greener on the other side, especially in Colorado. Touchdown. That's right. That's right. Listen to this one time. Listen to it one old time. You're keeping old memories and beliefs before your eyes. You are keeping old learnings before your eyes. You're keeping old grievances before your eyes. And that's what's keeping you from experiencing. Guess what is keeping you from experiencing? Guess what is keeping you from experiencing happiness, love, abundance, peace, 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 happiness, love, abundance, peace. Happiness, love, abundance, peace. Happiness, love, abundance, peace. I want happiness, love, abundance, peace. I allow happiness, love, abundance, peace. I allow happiness, love, abundance, peace. May you have happiness, love, abundance, peace. May you have happiness, love, abundance, peace. May we have happiness, love, abundance, peace. I say abundance, peace, abundance, peace, abundance, peace, abundance, peace. I'm making memories in my body. See, all my memories in my body, so I'm making some good memories. So if I am going to have an ancient memory before my eyes, it's going to be the ancient memory of happiness, love, abundance, peace, because there was some of that in your past too. But the thing about remembering happiness, love, and abundance and peace from the past is since happiness, love, abundance, and peace, that's what love is, then any kind of love is eternal. So even when you're remembering love, you're not really remembering the past. You're really remembering what's available right now. So every loving thought is not the past. The form in which you experience the loving thought might seem to be past. Like the bicycle that I rode that made me happy, in my perception, might be gone. But that feeling of joy that I felt on Christmas Day is just as alive to now as it was then. So the content is eternal. The form always changes. And I tend to get caught up in the form, in the physical form. And then, see, in other words, if I'm in a relationship with someone and they decide they don't want to let no love come through them for me no more, then that's just the love that wants to get to me is letting me know it wants to come through another body. Because this body can no longer contain the amount of love that I deserve to have. It's like repotting a plant.
Whoa!
And I'm a friggin' gardener, let me tell you. I have a lot of pot. Hey, y'all giving that all the meaning it has for y'all. You know, there's just some judgment out there. You know? So as far as I'm concerned, I've only had one woman my entire life. One energy, feminine energy that meets me in my entire life, because I'm energy, I'm spirit, I'm consciousness, you're spirit, you're energy, you're consciousness, we're not our bodies. So what you're doing is having an experience with the consciousness, with the mind, with an energy that's coming to you through every body that it comes to you through, but it's your own feminine or masculine energy trying to get back to you through the men or women that you meet in your life. So when I start to love myself more, if I'm surrounded by people or situations or circumstances that don't want to allow more love through for me, then the love is going to find another way to get to me, and that love could get to me today if I wasn't busy trying to crank up that old form, trying to get that old body to give me what it used to, trying to get, you used to kiss me when I came home from work. That's all right, somebody else kissing me now. Especially if you're not kissing me no more. You think I'm gonna do without kissing just because you decide you're not gonna give me a kiss? I don't operate like that. You can keep your kisses to yourself.
That's right.
It's not like you got the only pair of lips that ever been created in the universe. If I'm not mistaken, everybody here got lips. So just this room alone blows that theory. Now I know my lips are exceptional.
We love your lips.
I always get lucky with myself. So when I give it a good shot sometimes to keep the love that used to be to come back through the body that it used to come through, and I give it a good shot and I say, hey, let's see if we can see this another way. Can we look at this another way? Can we make this happen? Might be some blocks. We need to let go of some grievances, some forgiveness that need to happen. Are you willing? I'm willing. If I'm willing, that's my way of knowing that the love is trying to get to me through another body. So I need to bless and release them and be open and receptive and don't criticize and judge them, because if I criticize and judge them, then I'm going to be creating baggage to take into the next relationship that I have to deal with. So everybody that you're not in a relationship with now, that you used to be in a relationship with, be it a friendship or romance or anything, what we want to do right now is say, God is the love in which I forgive and release you. God is the love in which I forgive and release you. Which is the same as saying love is the love in which I forgive and release you. See, love is the love. So what does that mean? It means that I'm not going to do anything to block your happiness. It doesn't mean I'm going to call you up and say, let's go to lunch. It doesn't mean I'm getting ready to have some big conversation with you again. If I forgive you, I'm not interfering with you, and I'm not blocking you, and I'm not bad-mouthing you, and I'm not trying to do anything to block your happiness. That is forgiveness. So if you're not actively trying to hurt anyone from your past, you've forgiven them. You're not trying to run them down. You're not getting a background check right now for the gun that you bought to take care of them. So you letting them be, so that's forgiving. You let it go. You release them. And the only reason why you don't know that is you're still holding an ancient memory before your eyes, just like it was saying, right? Which means that I'm missing the love and abundance that's in my life right now. Because that love is present. So love is always trying to get to you all the time, but you're just looking in the wrong direction. And what is the wrong direction, Earl? The wrong direction is I'm looking toward the past and I'm looking toward the future.
That's right.
The wrong direction is looking to the future for your happiness now. The wrong direction is remembering what it was like 5 years ago for happiness now. Why am I teaching that? Because I'm in the process of trying to release everything and everybody from my past that are no longer part of the divine plan for my life right now. I live in the past too much. I remember I've had so much fun in my life since I got into the Course in Miracles. It was like going down a rabbit hole. I mean, I can tell you some stories that turn all the white people black and all the black people white. The Course brings about change and transformation. When I first started studying the Course, I was a Southern white woman. Menopause almost killed me. All right, so it does bring about change. But what happened was I had such a good time that I find myself comparing the fun that I had in the past to what I think I'm experiencing right now. Because now I'm a little bit more aware, so I don't do a lot of the things that I did then. But I missed the fun I had before the disaster struck. Y'all know what I'm talking about. The part that seemed like it was fun at first and then at the end it looked like the disaster struck. I missed the fun part without the disaster. So now, because I've gotten more and more conscious, most of the time I don't do stuff that I used to do because I'm waiting for the right people to do it with. Well, I used to didn't care just as I got what I wanted. Now I'm looking for cooperation, teamwork, collaboration, a minded. I got a volunteer. Could it just be as easy as asking for it? What a radical idea. That's right. If you don't know I'm dangerous by now, you never will. That's right. Okay, so. The scariest person in the world is the person that you could be in a relationship with that frees you and doesn't make any demands on you and has no scripts on you. That's the kind of way I am. So people don't know what to do with me because I don't act according to the rules that they make up. What is the rule for being in a relationship with you, Earl? Well, here's the rule. You are free to do whatever you choose.
Yep.
What? You're free to do whatever you choose. What? You're free to do whatever you choose. And then what you do is you see who runs and you see who stays. But the person who runs is the one who needs to control other people.
Yep.
And so they're not going to be able to control you, so they don't want to have a relationship with you because they're so afraid that they won't be able to control you so that they can feel like they love you. So then they need to run and then find someone who wants to control them as much as they want to control them. And then they have a relationship made in heaven for them. They meet somebody who has the same boundaries, the same agreements, the same limits, whatever. They just get the person who has a similar value system. I'm not the guy. Because when you hook up with somebody, and they're very different from you, and you're very different from them, then the temptation is to judge them for not doing it the way you would do it. But they're totally innocent doing it the way they do it. They're not guilty just because they don't do it my way, but I'll make them feel that way because I'll get upset because they're not doing what I want them to do. So what are we doing? We're convincing each other that there's something wrong with each other when there's not. It's just that you don't really like to do what I like to do. That's not a sin. Well, why am I going to condemn you because you have a different moral value, belief system than I do, so automatically you're wrong? So I realized that I tend to have felt more innocent when I wasn't in a special relationship than when I was. Because there wasn't anybody that was judging my actions. But the mistake I would make would be to let my ego, the part of me that doesn't really love me and that wants to keep me living in the past, I let it choose the next person. And so when my ego would choose a person, it would always be a person that wanted me to change in order for them to be happy. So they had to tweak me.
Yeah.
You're almost perfect. There's just one little thing about you. We could just get that straightened out, you'd be the perfect person in the world. So then I had to learn how to value my innocence and feeling okay about myself more than the attraction that I would feel to the person. So I had to learn how to go, boy, I don't care how much I'm physically attracted to you based on the fact that you're reminding me of a past grievance that I haven't freed myself from yet. So therefore I got a big sexual attraction, which is a guilt attraction in most cases until you wake up. Because why is it that something that starts out so good can sometimes end so insane? Because it was guilt that attracted you to him in the first place. It wasn't love. But the guilt got you into the lesson you need to learn with them. So you had to have some kind of physical attraction to even get into the lesson. Sort of like the mouse has to have the cheese on the trap before it can, get caught. So naturally, at the very beginning, you got to look like you're the most perfect thing that ever showed up in my life for me to get into the lesson that I need to get into with you, where you're going to flush stuff up in me that I need to take a look at and let go of. So you're supposed to help me not live in my memories and know that love is present for us right now. I'm supposed to help you get rid of your past memories and grievances and show you that you're capable of being loved right now. I'm here to witness to you that you are made of love and that you are lovable and that you are loving. I heard what you just said, but I want to know, does she like basketball? That's what's really important. Not whether or not she'll be a constant reminder of the innocence and lovability that I am and help me remember that I'm an unlimited spiritual being that deserves to be happy or not guilty. That's not really important. What's important is, how much money do you make? Are you going to be able to take me on a trip? You can be crazy as hell as long as you can do it in first class. So I had to really start to pay attention for the good of myself and the good of the other person so that I could be a means for peace for both of us. Because the body pretty much comes along with the person who loves you. They tend to, if you're in a personal, special relationship, they tend to, if they really love y'all grooving together and you compatible with it, they kind of like give the body as a little, like it just goes with it. Like when you buy a big screen TV and they say they'll throw in a DVD. That's what people do with their bodies. I'm in love with you. You're the one. You're the one I want to spend the rest of my life with. I can't wait to give you my body if it's that kind of relationship. You don't have to like beg them. If it's love, you don't have to beg them. They're trying to put it on you. Sometimes people try to put it on you when they don't even love you. And you be hoping they will. I don't care what kind of man you got, I love you, body. Give me that body. So I'm trying to tell you, but bodies come with conscious, loving beings too.
Yeah.
You don't have to settle for insane people to have a physical experience. You could be with the same person and have a physical experience. Stop selling yourself cheap and just accepting anybody that shows up as long as they're breathing. What kind of woman you want? One that's alive, and if it's pretty fresh, you don't have to be alive either. Okay, now. What does that have to do with the Course in Miracles? Everything. Because it's a miracle you sit there listening to me. That's the first example of a miracle right there. How many of y'all can relate to some of the things I said? Be honest, that's right. So remember, love, if it's not showing up where you think you want it to show up, if abundance is not showing up where you think you want it to show up, if peace is not showing up where you think it wants to show up, it's repotting itself. And you're still looking at the past and not paying attention.
Yeah.
You're still trying to get it out of something, someone, or some circumstance that's from your past.
Thank you.
Instead of allowing yourself to have your eyes wide open to who matches the level of consciousness that you're on now, because you're not even on the same level of consciousness you were then.
Yeah.
You're smarter now.
Yeah.
Whew.
Thank you.
Hey, brother, I'm teaching what I need to learn. Because I'm still having ancient memories dancing before my eyes. You know, very skimpily dancing. People that you can talk around sex about people who are fun.
Let's keep talking about it.
Yeah, that's why a lot of times I said that people think I'm some kind of sex maniac, but no, it just weeds people out. Talk sex and you run people off. Especially if they try to link it to anything spiritual, which is about time we link sexuality to spirituality instead of always acting like that's the last thing we need to talk about in one of these classes. I personally am so glad that I keep Kingdom condoms. They're very, very important. That's what spiritual people take along around with them. Because that's why I got the most stupid beliefs, the more limited beliefs, the more guilty beliefs, and the most fearful beliefs was around sexuality and spirituality. It was so warped that the only way we could even be born is through a virgin birth. You couldn't even have sex to have the child. If that's not a hang up, I don't know what is. You don't think about that.
That's true.
So you automatically feel like you're a failure if you had sex to have a baby. If you had really been able to do this right, we shouldn't have even had sex if you're going to be pregnant. What you trying to hide? Must be guilty.
God doesn't love you.
That's right. That's right. So that means that we are actually right now in this moment able to what? Stop living in the past. Are you willing to stop living in the
Yes.
past?
Yes.
Okay. Good. When I'm talking, I'm gonna pass this around again. I'm gonna do it every week because I got a lot of stuff I want to tell you. If you sign the contact list, besides letting you know the things that I'm doing, I always send a link on Sunday and a link on Wednesday to a Course in Miracles or the Way of Mastery class. So whether you're here or not, you get a chance to just click on it. The YouTube video will come up and it'll be one of these classes because I video all of them.
Nice.
Okay, so it's a way to keep yourself reminded. So if you're not on the list and you'd like to get information, but at the same time receive a couple of classes a week that you could watch and listen to while you're doing things, just sign it in print. So I know how to put it in the computer.
Is this on Facebook?
It's going to be sent to you in your email, and I also put it on my Facebook, in the Facebook also. Okay. Any questions about anything I've said so far? Yes.
Well,
one of the things that I love about the course
Uh-huh.
is it has you take personal responsibility.
Yeah.
And so this morning, I didn't get enough sleep, and this morning I woke up and it seems, because my eyes, and it seems that like I'm having a bad day because it just seems like it's happening to me. But if I'm to believe the course, which I want to believe, it's that I'm creating this, that I decided for this, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so then, I guess I decided at some point this morning or whatever, oh, I want to have this experience. But it seems that it's happening to me. So I guess, like, I'm wanting to analyze it, but I guess just need to realize that it happens so quick that, you know.
Well, the
It
reason
seems-
why you don't remember making the choice to experience what you are experiencing, like if it looks like you don't remember choosing to have happen to you what's happening to you. You keep hearing you create your reality, but you don't remember when you chose it. Okay, let me explain that to you. You chose it, but part of your plan was to forget that you chose it so that it could look like it was happening to you. Because if it looks like it's happening to you, your world stays in place, and it's also another way to keep your pattern going. Like if I still don't think I deserve to have loving relationships, I won't remember when I decided to have another one and then made myself forget that I decided to create that so it could look like it's happening to me. If your financial situation is a complete reflection of the choice that you're making about what you should be receiving right now, completely. And it's down to the penny. It's exactly what you're asking for. But you don't remember making that decision, because if you decided to punish yourself with lack and you remembered you made the decision, then you would choose out of the pattern, and then you would start having the abundance you wanted. So if you're trying to punish yourself and you don't think you deserve something, you have to forget that you're the one that's creating what you're going through in order to keep it going. So how can you tell when you're ready to let a pattern go? Very simple. If you're a person that's ready to let a pattern go, you will be a person who is assuming responsibility for the pattern. So if you're a person that's saying, I'm creating my financial situation even if I don't realize how I'm doing it, you're a person that's ready to break your financial pattern. If you're a person that's saying, I know my relationships have really been a real challenge for me, but I'm the one that's creating that challenge right now, I'm owning it, that it's my choice, it's what I'm doing, then you're a person that's ready to get ready for a whole brand new experience, okay? And so every time you refuse to say that you're the one that's creating your experience, that's your way of knowing that you have unconsciously decided to continue to have that experience more. That's it. You understand? I'm innocent. You can do it as long as you want to. I can do it as long as I want to. But I say it to you again. Every single solitary thing that's happening in your life is you're creating it. You're an unlimited being. You're a God being. You're a consciousness. You're a spirit. You create through your thoughts and feelings, emotions, and beliefs. Those you are aware of and those you're not aware of. Everybody would follow me. You don't have to believe this, because it doesn't matter if you believe it. You know why it doesn't matter if you believe it? Because it's the truth. And that means that sooner or later you're going to come to realize it. In the meantime, I'm going to be working on getting rid of my disbelief. And you can let go of yours when you get ready. How will you know when it's time for you to let go? The way you'll know when you're about to let go is you'll say something like, there must be a better way. I've done all I can do. I got to let this go. I got to surrender it. That's when you know you've reached your limit. Up until then, you'll be debating in your mind about the truth or falsity of what I just said today. So, because you know what? It's so beautiful though, because if it's the truth and you are loving and lovable and nothing you really think about yourself really changes the loving being that you are, then when you stop living in the past, that loving being that you already are will be there waiting for you and ready to create love in your life. And so it's not like you're going to lose your opportunity to experience love, but since you believe in time, why waste it going nowhere?
Yes.
Since you believe in time, why not use time to give yourself more and more peace? Because you're going to come to the conclusion one day that nobody's ever done anything to you, that you've been doing it to yourself. And you're going to get so happy about that because you're going to say, wow, if that's true, then that means that anything in my life that I feel unhappy about can be changed, and I could experience the peace and the joy and the abundance and everything else. I could have the career I want, the relationship with God I want, the money I want. That means if it's just a matter of my own consciousness, then there's nothing that I couldn't receive. And then you'll get so happy because then you'll realize that no matter how you look, there could be somebody for you. No matter how smart you are, you could create somebody for you. No matter how much money you have, you could create something for you. You realize that there's no limit. You wouldn't have to change. You could create people that like you just the way you are and say, you look just like I've always wanted my lover, a friend to look. You don't have to change nothing about yourself in order to be loved. That's how you know you're fooling yourself and you don't know the truth. It's because you think you need to change you for somebody to love you. That's your first clue that you don't know what's going on. Because if I lose 10 pounds, then I'm going to get about 30 more women. You know what I'm saying? No, there's women that like love handlers. You know what I'm saying? So, however you are, there's somebody that loves you, that could love you that way. Do you believe that about yourself? No. Why? Because you're living in ancient memories. What do you mean ancient memories? What your parents told you when you were growing up, the experiences you had when you were growing up, what your friends said when you were growing up, all those childhood past experiences, you're still living in them. And so therefore you don't even realize you're free of your childhood because it's gone now and you're free to have it any way you want to have it right now. Today, this very moment, right now, there's nothing that I'm saying to anybody in here that they couldn't change their life today, including me. Why don't I do it? Well, I don't deserve it. I'm inadequate. I'm insecure. I'm not really that smart. Nobody really loves me. I'm black. That's what it is. I do that with my friends a lot. We go out in a restaurant or something, and they bring my stuff last. I said, the only reason why they did that because I'm black. So everything that comes back, I go, yeah, because I'm black. That's what happened. That's why that car ran that red light, because I'm black. You know. And who are the people that tend not to be able to laugh when you make racial references? Those who are racist. They're the ones who get the most appalled. Maggie, I didn't even notice you were black. Whenever somebody tells me that, I always want to say, are you friggin' blind? I'm not ashamed of having a black body. You don't have to pretend it's not there. I can give you some hell of some dance lessons, you know what I'm saying? I want to have fun. I went to the body store and bought a black body. I'm going to have a good time with it. Y'all all pick two. Don't get mad now because you can't take it back.
That's right.
Your warranty is over. You know, you don't have a minute that you pass through these forms. You know these forms don't last. Don't spend your whole life when you're in a physical body before you go to your next existence trying to forgive yourself for stuff you never really have done. Don't spend your whole life fixing yourself. You know, when you could be enjoying yourself. But there's so much wrong with you that you'll be dead before you even begin to get any of it handled. Then after you die, you go, oh my God, I was supposed to be partying more. Yes. Yes. This was supposed to be an experiment, a joyful experiment. This was supposed to be an adventure where we tried out new ways of loving and thinking and being and expressing ourselves. Because we don't always hang out in physical forms like we do now. But what do? We make up the idea of sin and guilt, and you different from me, and I'm different from you, and you doing it to me, and I'm doing it to you. Then I get caught up in all that mess, and then I miss all the love and connection and joy I could be having with everybody around me. But see, now I don't try to change nobody. I just look for the people that want what I want.
Yes.
That's, I find out, that's the secret to having it now and fast. Yeah, leave those people who don't want to change alone. Let them be. I used to like seek them out. Oh, I'm going to try to help you and make you, and then they just end up like hating you. Because they're not ready yet. And you have to leave them alone. All the popcorn in the skillet don't pop at the same time. But we, you know, but all of us are going to pop. So you might be the last kernel in the whole doggone skillet, but you're going to pop too.
I can't stop popping.
That's your problem.
Yeah,
I know. You always pop.
I'm always popping.
You always pop. So I'm here to remind you that you are the popcorn of God.
Yes.
You're the Orville Rickenbacker of God. And you are extra buttery.
Yeah.
Do you understand? And you deserve to stop living in the memories of the past right now.
Yes.
And realize that it's over, Earl. Earl. Realize that. Realize what? that is over. So what I'm going to do right now is I want you to acknowledge yourself for even hearing this much of what Spirit is saying through me. And I'm going to do the financial expression of appreciation offering. I'm a full-time teacher. This is what I do in the world, so I appreciate your generosity, appreciation of what I do in a financial way. Thank you. Thank you. Those of you on the internet who've also been sending in financial appreciations, I really, in your comments, I really appreciate that. And if you want to do that, make a donation, you can do it at my website, www.earlpurdy.com. So I'm available for one-on-one personal sessions called clarity sessions, where I take the truth and my knowledge of astrology and numerology and the course and apply it to your life and what's going on. If you'd like to find out more about that, if you go to my website, it explains in detail what the clarity sessions are. A lot of times people are keeping themselves from experiencing joy about things that they could get a lot of clarity on and get that thing changed and get that block changed. And if you're willing to make that investment in yourself, then I'm available to support you in that. You don't have to keep going through the same pattern over and 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 over again. So I'm here to support you if that's not what you want to do. All right. Tuesday night, we're doing the Way of Mastery class. That's an awesome class at 7 o'clock. Right here, I teach it. So you're welcome to come to that. Dana, what was your question?
You know what? You answered it.
Okay, cool. All right, so take a breath, y'all. Take a stand, y'all. Y'all, so from the top. Take a stand, y'all. Say, I've reached my limit. There must be a better way. I'm open to another way of looking at this. Okay, so here's a review. So we have a situation. You got the situation in your mind that you've been keeping before your eyes, keeping you from experiencing the truth right now. Do you have the thing in your mind that you worry about, that you've been thinking about, that you tell yourself that you know isn't true, that doesn't make you feel loved, that doesn't make you feel good? Do you have the thing in your mind that you love, that you appreciate, the thing that turns you on, the thing that you're happy about? I want you to think about that too. I want you to think about both of them and go in both situations. In both situations, there is another way of looking at this. There is another way of looking at this. There is another way of looking at this. There is another way of looking at, close your eyes and go, there is another way of looking at this. There is another way of looking at this. They go, I am determined to see things differently. 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 Now take that one person from your past, that one person from your past. Take that one person from your past that you know you haven't let go of. Take that one person from the past. Take that one situation from the past. Take that one situation from the past that you think about, that you obsess about, and tell yourself, God is the love in which I forgive you. God is the love in which I forgive you. God is the love in which I forgive you. Love is the love in which I forgive you. I forgive myself, 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 I release myself, I release myself. I'm gonna say it for you in case you bashful. You release yourself, you release yourself, you forgive yourself, you release yourself, you forgive yourself, you release yourself, you forgive yourself, you release 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 yourself, you forgive yourself, you free 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 yourself, you are free, 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 You are free. You are free. Abundance is your natural state. 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 Abundance is my 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 natural state. Abundance. 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 See, some words just feel good just to say it, whether you feel like it's happening or not. There's some cool words like tranquility, 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 spectacular, 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 magnificent, 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 unlimited, unlimited, adored, 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 adored. I am loved. Even if I don't realize it, I'm loved. You are loved. Now check this one out. You deserve to be paid for having fun. You deserve to be paid for having fun. I deserve to be paid for having fun. I deserve to be paid for having. What you say now? I deserve to be paid for having fun. I deserve to be paid for having fun. I deserve to be paid for having fun. One more. I deserve to be paid for. Now there's another one in the Course in Miracles that goes, I bless the world because I bless myself. 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 My past is over, it can touch me not. The past is over, it can touch me not. The past is over, it can touch me not. The past is over, it can touch me not. And now breathe. So silently make a declaration for yourself right now. Make a declaration of independence through God, through the higher power for yourself. The present is our point of power. My present is the point of power. I seek a future different from the past. From the past, yes. You seek a future different from the past. I seek a future different from the past. I had enough, I can't take no more. I had enough, I can't take no more. Give it up, y'all. Make a decision today. And I'm going to say one last thing to you. You deserve it. You deserve it. You deserve love. You deserve to be respected. You deserve to be recognized. You deserve to be appreciated. You deserve to be valued. You deserve affection. You deserve honesty. You deserve God. You deserve love. You deserve wealth, health. So there. Thank you, Holy Spirit. Thank you for coming today. Would you acknowledge us? Give it up for us. I tell you, I know. Scare that ego off. Scare it off. That part of you that thinks you don't deserve it. Yeah. Let's side with me. Side with me. I want it for you. Side with me on that. Okay? Hugs are available. I love you. Thank you for being in my world. And thank you for being so juicy and cute.